Hello, this is Mark, and I am nearing the end of my replay of the 1968 Detroit Tigers season using my simulation program of Sports Illustrated Baseball. I've done a couple of changes to my program. I can show you a couple of them here, and then I'll have another video to show the other one. But the big one is that I've added the original all-time All-Star Baseball season of Sports Illustrated to my game here. You can see that's the bottom one. It says you hit A to play all-time All-Stars, and there's the box that it came in is added to the bottom of the right of the screen. So that was kind of fun to do. Those are the players from like the 1890s until the 1970s. That's when that game came out, somewhere in the early 1970s. So it doesn't have all the, of course, it doesn't have all the current stars from the last 50 years, but it has a lot of cool old players. But the other things I did is one person add a comment and asked about a bunch of things, and one of them was, can a player roll the dice themselves and use my program? I never even thought of that, but I added that as an option, and I will show that after I play this game. So the game I'm going to replay is this game right here that was played on September 18th, 1960, or September 19th, 1968. This was Denny McLain's second to last game. And in the real season, Denny McLain was 30-5 at this point. He's not doing quite as good in my replay. I think he's 29-7, but I'll show you that before we start the game. So here was his second to last game. He won the game. He became 31-5, and then he lost his last game of the season and ended 31-6. But this is a game between the Yankees and the Tigers at Tiger Stadium. There's the Yankee starting lineup, which will be the same for my replay, and there's the Tigers starting lineup. Okay, so they won 6-2. There's how the pitchers did. Mel Stottlemyre started and lost for the Yankees, and the Tigers had Denny McLain, who started and won his 31st game and pitched the complete game. So that being said, there's what really happened. Let's see what's going to happen in my replay. So I hit 8 to get to 1968. Let me show you where Denny McLain is right now. So I'll do team pitching. I'll do Tigers. And there he is now. He's 29-7. So instead of being 30-5, he's coming in 29-7 and trying to get his 30th victory. So let us see if he gets his 30th victory. I'll say I want to continue playing current season. I'll say I want to play the next Tiger game. And there are the managers of the two teams in 1968. And there are my pitchers of this game. McLain, you can see 29-7. There's the Yankee starting lineup. Mickey Mantle was in there in 1968. And there's the Tiger starting lineup. Eddie Matthews the third. Look, Mickey Stanley was a center fielder playing shortstop because in the World Series he played shortstop. Tigers had a very weak hitting shortstop named Ray Oyler for most of the season, and they needed more hitting, so they moved Stanley to shortstop so they could get Northrup and Kaline and Willie Horton in the outfield. Gates Brown is starting this game, but that's because probably they're almost clinched or they are clinched. So there's the defense. Here are the options that added to dice rolling. So you can see and hear the dice, or you could just see the dice, or you could not see or hear the dice, or you can roll the dice yourself manually. So I will see and hear the dice for this game. And then I'll start another game and show you how I did the rolling the dice yourself. So there's the field, Detroit Tiger Stadium. 1968 was their field. There's McLain pitching and Horace Clarke batting leadoff. And the colorful lines, I'll explain again. The top one is the pitcher who's on the mound, and the bottom one is the batter's line against either a right-handed or a left-handed pitcher. So this is Horace Clarke against right-handed pitcher because Denny McLain is right-handed. And we will start the game. And you can hear I added the sound to the dice roll. So there's the 35 from Denny McLain is a nothing. It's a green box. You can see it highlighted in white up on the top. Now we roll the dice for Horace Clarke. He also rolls a 35 and he grounds out. Next batter is Jake Gibbs. Will bat away, 35 again. 34 and 35 are the most commonly rolled dice rolls in this game because threes come up more than anything else on the black dice. And fours and fives come up the most combination on the white dice. So 24 for Jake Gibbs is a ground out. McLain rolls again. A 31 again is nothing from him. A 10. Mickey Mantle doubles. A double with a star is runners advance 3 bases, but no one was on, so no one advanced. 24 is nothing from McLain, and a 35 is a ground out for Joe Pepitone. So McLain gets through the first inning pretty easily, and let's see if the Tigers can get some runs. There's Dick McAuliffe, he flies out. Mel Stottlemyre rolls to Mickey Stanley, rolls to 38, so got to roll again to see the pitcher's X chart there on the left, see what happens with that. A 35 is a wild pitch, so that's nothing with nobody on base. We'll swing it away again. There's a 23 from Stottlemyre, and Stanley's 37 is a single. So we got Mickey Stanley at first with Al Kaline coming up. A 32 is nothing. From a ground out with a star means the runner's advance, so there goes Stanley to second base, and Gator Brown comes up. 31, he walks Gates Brown. Storm and Norm Cash. And you can see the statistics there by the batter. Those are the statistics of this replay season. That's not his real life. So he's doing well, hitting .297 with 30 home runs. Maybe he can hit another home run right here against old Mel Stottlemyre. And he does. And there was another addition I made. When somebody hits a home run, you can hear fans cheering. Hopefully you could hear that in this recording. 13 is nothing from Stottlemyre. Tigers up 3 to nothing. Northrup ends the inning, so McLain has been given a nice early lead. Bill Robinson for the Yankees pops out. Tommy Tresh. McLain's 26 is the automatic strikeout, so Tom Tresh doesn't even get to roll the dice. He just goes back to the virtual dugout. Denny McLain walks Andy Costco with 2 outs. Mike Ferrero comes up. And Denny McLain's another 26 is strikeout. So there's the end of the second inning for the Yankees. Eddie Matthews leads off with a nothing pitch from Stottlemyre and a ground out. Jimmy Price. Next one up, Stottlemyre's 27 is nothing, and Price's 13 is a single. So there's Jimmy Price at first base. Of course, we're going to bunt with Denny McLain, so I hit B for bunt. It rolls the dice of a 13, and you can see the bunt of a good bunter on the left side of the screen, and it is a successful sacrifice, so Price goes down to second. 2 outs with Dick McAuliffe up. A 15 is nothing from Stottlemyre, and McAuliffe does not knock in the run from second. He flies out instead. So here we go, top of the third. 25 is nothing. 34 for Stottlemyre, he grounds out. Horace Clark comes up. 37 is nothing from him. From McLain, 23 is a single. There's Horace Clark at first. He's a 3-runner. He does not try to steal. We have Jake Gibbs goes ahead and flies out. Now the virtual computer manager can decide to steal or bunt or pinch hit or relief pitch. He can do all those kinds of things. And he makes the decisions on the manager's base running decisions also. There's a ground out for Mickey Mantle. So that ends. So after 3 innings of the Yankees, Tigers up 3-0. Denny McLain is 1/3 of the way to his 30th victory in this replayed season. 27 from Stottlemyre to Kaline, nothing. There's a 15, Kaline single. So there's Al Kaline at first base. Here comes Gates Brown. The Gator Brown did a sacrifice with parentheses, which means the runner from third scores and the other ones can advance if they want to. There's the manager's decision for a 1-runner. He has a 48% chance of tagging and going to second. I will say no. I'm going to hold him at first. So we'll give Storm and Norman Cash a chance with a runner at first. There's a 34. And he does not hit a second home run. He misses it by 2. He rolls a 35. Should have been a 37 for the home run. Top of the 4th, Joe Pepitone comes up. A 10. 27 is ground out. Let's see what the Tigers' numbers are for defense. I forgot what they were. Here's our defense out in the field for the Tigers. If I hit yes to change it, it'll tell me the sum is 18, and that means a defensive out becomes a roll of a 12 by a Tiger pitcher, because that's how Sports Illustrated Baseball works. So if Denny McLain rolls a 12, it's a defensive out. And what kind of luck is that? He rolls a 12, so that's an automatic out. What a coincidence that was. Tommy Tresh comes up, rolls a 28. A claim 28 and another 28 for Tresh is a ground out, so that's the end of the 4th inning for the Yankees. Northrup comes up, and 35 is nothing from Stottlemyre. 22 is a single. Jimmy Northrup leads off with a base hit. Eddie Matthews hitting only .125 this season. Not so good for Eddie Matthews. But he comes from here. He gets the single. With parentheses means the base runners can try to go for another base, but again, nobody out. I will not take that chance. I will say no to that question, and we'll leave Northrop at second. Jim Price comes up. There's a 24 from Stottlemyre, and that's a strikeout. Darn it. McLain comes up. There's McLain's line is up there. I don't know. He's a pitcher. He's got a lot of outs. Got a few hits. Huh, I'll let him swing away. What the heck? 27 from Stottlemyre is nothing. 26 is a single. Instead of bunting, I let him swing away, and he came through. So Denny McLain knocks in a run. Now 4-0. 20 from Stottlemyre, and 26 from McAuliffe is a flyout. Here comes Mickey Stanley, currently playing shortstop this game. He gets a single and scores Eddie Matthews from second. So the Tigers are putting some runs on the board here. 20 is nothing from Stottlemyre. 13 is a walk. Pretty soon Stottlemyre is going to get pulled because the virtual manager counts up the number of hits and runs and walks, and when he gets a certain number, he relieves the pitcher. And that might have done it, as Gates Brown knocks in 2 runs. Yep, it did. So 7 runs, 9 hits, and a couple of walks is enough for manager Ralph Houck of the Yankees to come in and pull out Stottlemyre. He puts in Dooley Womack. Well, coincidence, because Dooley Womack is the pitcher who relieved Stottlemyre in the actual game. The way the virtual manager picks relievers in this game, and there's a home run for Cash. The Tigers are just kicking some butt. That's the second 3-run homer for Cash. He's rolling 37s against these right-handed pitchers and coming through. But the way they pick the relievers is based on the number of relief appearances. So if one reliever pitched 50 games in the real season and another one pitched 25 games, the first reliever would have double the amount of chance of getting picked by the computer manager as a reliever. So here comes Jim Northrop against Dooley Womack, and Jim Northrop groans out. So it's 10-0, with Denny McLain is probably going to get his 30th victory here, unless something goes awfully wrong. There's a double play that Ferraro hits into, so pinch hitter for Dooley Womack. So the virtual manager will pinch hit for the pitchers in certain situations if they're behind or tied late in the game. They're way behind now. So Roy White gets picked, and the way they pick pinch hitters is whoever's on the bench that has the best batting average in this game against this kind of pitcher, which is a right-handed pitcher, gets picked. So Roy White must have had the best batting average against right-handed pitchers of who's on the Yankees bench, so he got picked. 22 from McLain is nothing. Let's pinch hitter Roy White gets a single with the 26. So 2 outs. Clark comes up, walks Horace Clark. Jake Gibbs is going to come up. Jake Gibbs gets a walk. Bases loaded. 37 from McLain is nothing. 19 is a triple, so Mickey Mantle hits a triple with the bases loaded. It's now 10-3. Pepitone comes up, walks Pepitone. McLain has gotten a little wild, but he rolls a 21. He strikes out Bill Robinson to get out of that inning, so it's 10-3. Here comes Eddie Matthews again, still batting poorly, 140. 29 is a strikeout. Here's Jim Price. That's nothing from... Oh, by the way, the reliever is now Jim Verbanek. He gets the first 2 batters, and let's see if he can get Denny McLain out. And he does. Denny rolls a 34 and grounds out. Here we go, Tom Tresh. Denny McLain rolls a 25, and Tresh rolls a 27. He strikes out. Andy Costco, 35 from McLain is nothing. 26 is a double for Costco. Here comes Mike Ferraro, 30, and a fly out Ferraro. So there's 2 outs with the pitcher coming up. There's a pinch hitter coming in for the pitcher. This time pinch hitter will be Charlie Smith. McLain rolls a 34 to Smith. It's nothing, and Charlie Smith rolls a 31, and he grounds out. That's the end of the top of the 6th, bottom of the 6th, with now Fred Talbot pitching for the Yankees. There's a single Talbot gives up because he has a single on his card up there. See, the 16 is circled by the white is a single given up by the pitcher. So there's McAuliffe on first. There's a walk. Here comes Al Kaline with 2 runners on. 33. Okay, Al Kaline rolled a He got a sacrifice fly in parentheses, which mean the base runners can choose to advance. Runner on third would score, but the other ones can try to advance. I will try to advance just to show you how this works. So I will say yes to the do I want to try to advance. Rolls the dice. It's a 16. You can see there's the manager's decision chart here on the left. For a one runner, a 16. The top is a 10. The bottom's a 39. So a 16 is highlighted in that white box. That's a red. Red is out. Green is safe. So McAuliffe is out. K-line is out on the fly ball. There's two outs. Runner on first. Gates Brown comes up. He walks Gator. Here comes Norm Cash again with two runners on. And there's not a third three-run homer for Norm Cash. There we go. Denny McLain walks. Leadoff hitter Clark. Jake Gibbs comes up. Jake strikes out with a 14. Here's Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's 23 is a single. Got something going here, these Yankees. 35 is nothing from McLain. Pepitone's 36 is a pop out. Two down for Robinson. Walks Robinson's base is loaded for Tommy Tresh. Nothing pitched to Tommy Tresh, and Tommy grounds out. So he gets through the seventh inning. Two more innings to go. Up 10-3. Northrup leads off with a nothing pitch, and a 28 is a ground out from Northrup. Here comes Eddie Matthews. Eddie Matthews, you can see, has a couple of home runs. One looks like it's on 16 and one's on 31, but he hasn't been able to hit those numbers, so he's out again. Here's Jim Price. Jim Price is out. Eighth inning, 10-3. I'll have McLain go one more. What the heck? 35 is nothing pitch for him. 19 is a double for Andy Costco. Ferrara comes up, 15. And then a 30 is a hard ground out. Costco stays at second. Pitcher is going to get pinch hit for by manager Ralph Houck. We bring in Bobby Cox. Bobby Cox, before he came the Atlanta Braves manager, was a player on the Yankees. He hit 206 in this simulated season. And he singles home Costco. So Bobby Cox comes from next 10-4. Here is Horace Clark. Clark strikes out. And Jake Gibbs comes up. 34 from McLain, and 36 is a strikeout. All right. Yankees pinch hit for the pitcher, so they brought in a new pitcher. Happens to be Lindy McDaniel. Here's Denny McLain. I will pinch hit for Denny McLain. There's my bench, and there's how they bat against right-handed pitchers. There's Wirt, the third baseman. There's Euler, the shortstop. There's Willie Horton. We're going with Willie Horton. Willie could run into one. He's got a home run there in the middle of the 20s. Lindy McDaniel throws him a 35, and Willie rolls a 26. He missed his home run by one. You can see the 26 is the G there that's highlighted in that white box. Next to it is the home run. Dick McAuliffe. Lindy throws a 35 to him. McAuliffe rolls a 22, grounds out. Here comes Mickey Stanley. 31 is nothing from McDaniel. Stanley grounds out. And this is telling me that I have to put in a reliever because I pitch hit for him. It's not a save situation. I will bring in blah, 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 I don't even know. There's their stats so far in this season. I'll go ahead and put number 10 in. John Wyatt. He's 1-0 this year with 1.75 ERA. He's a righty. He'll pitch to Mickey Mantle. It's a nothing pitch from Wyatt. There's a 13. Mantle greets John Wyatt with a solo home run, making 10-5. There's a 10. A 33 is a ground out for Pepitone. Here comes Bill Robinson. 28 is nothing for Robinson. Robinson rolls a 32. McLain is 1 out away from getting his 30th victory here in this simulated season. That's a K for the pitcher. A K means a blue box for a pitcher is just a strikeout. A K means that if the batter doesn't get a hit, anything else gets turned into a strikeout. So if Tresh gets a ground out or a fly out or something like that, it'll become a strikeout. As you can see, he got a strikeout, so it didn't need to change anything, but it became a strikeout. So that's the game. There we go. Tigers win 10-5. McLain's winning pitcher. There's the batting for the Yankees. Look at Mickey Mantle, 4 for 5. Mickey Mantle hit for the cycle that game. Look at that. He hit 4 hits. One was a double, one was a triple, one was a home run, meaning the fourth one was a single. That doesn't happen very often. So Mickey Mantle hits the cycle. And Denny McLain won his 30th game. quite an interesting game. There's Norman Cash with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Gates Brown had 2 RBIs. McLain had 1 RBI. 11 hits and 10 runs. Pretty good. There's the Yankees pitching. Stottlemyre let up 9 runs and got the loss. And there's the Tigers. Denny McLain with the win. John Wyatt pitched the last inning. So here, the game now is managing and playing the games that the Tigers are not involved with. So the next game after that game Tigers played was Baltimore at Chicago, and Baltimore won. Minnesota won their game. Boston beat New York. And I will say no to the last game of the Tigers. Let's look at the standings so far. So after that win of the Tigers are now 101 and 53. They're 13 games ahead of Baltimore. So they will win the pennant because there's only 101 and 53 is 154, so they got 8 more games. They've already clinched it, so that's all good news. And that being said, that will be the end of the game. I will look at the pitching stats of the Tigers to show you that he did indeed succeed in winning his 30th game of the year. So he started 40 games, and he's 30-7. So he really did start 40 games in 68 season. Actually, he started 41 because he will start 1 more game in the simulated season. So he's got a chance of going 31-7. And in real life, he went 31-6. So that's pretty close. So that being said, let me show you one thing here. I won't do it in 1968. I will have to do it in another year. So that means I need to start up my program again and pick another year. I'll pick 1971. I will say play a game. I will say Baltimore at Boston. I will say yes. I'll start Cuellar and I'll start Culp. I'll say yes to that. I'll pick an automatic lineup. Say yes to that. Pick an automatic lineup for the Red Sox. I'll say yes to that. Now I come to the point where here I get my dice choice. So I will show you how this manual dice, how I implemented it in my game. So I pitched 4 for manual dice. And here, now, the first thing you have to do is tell the game what you want to do. Do you want to bunt or steal or pinch hit or hit away? And hit away is spacebar, so I hit spacebar. So it asks me what the pitcher's dice roll. So right now I would roll the physical dice here on my table. I don't have any physical dice, so I will just pretend like I rolled a 34. So I'll enter 34, and you can see the game highlighted 34 up there in Ray Culp's line. Now it wants the batter's dice, so I would roll a dice again. And in this case, I will just say I rolled a 25. So a 25 for Don Buford against a right-handed pitcher is a walk. So there he is at first base. Now I will say, let's show you how a steal would work. So I hit S for steal, and there's the steal chart of the left-handed hitter, of the two-runner, on the left side, and it wants me to roll the dice for the stealer. So I will go ahead, I'll just say I rolled a 34. That's a very common number. So I rolled a 34. 34 gets highlighted on the stealing chart, and it tells me that Don Buford stole successfully. So there's Don Buford at second. Now I'll show you a bunt. I'll hit B for bunt, and there's the bunting chart. Belanger's a good bunter. You can either be a good bunter or a bad bunter in Sports Illustrated. There's nothing in between. And because he has a plus sign next to his name by his picture, that means he's a good bunter. That's how I show it in my game. So now the game wants me to roll the dice for bunting. I'll say I rolled a 27 for a bunt roll. And a bunt roll 27, you can see gets highlighted there in the successful bunt, so that means Buford moves on to third. I'll have Boog Powell bat. This will be the end of my demonstration of using the dice rolls. I'll say that Ray Culp rolled a 25. That's nothing, a green pitch. And now Boog Powell comes up, and I'll say Boog rolls a 34. Another very common number. Boog's 34 is a pop out, so that ends the inning. That doesn't end the inning, but that ends my demonstration. So that is how I implemented manual dice rolling in my little game here. And I will put a link to the files that are on the system called Dropbox. So if anyone wants to play this game or try it out themselves, feel free to. All the files that you need will be there. All you need is a Windows computer, and you just download all those files from Dropbox into a subdirectory, and then you just run the only file that can be run as a program, which is called SI Baseball. So that being said, I will sign out for now and bid you adieu.